Hello. My name is Deachin Farrow, and I want to share a little with you about who I am, share a little about my story, what has brought me here to this point in my life, and why I am so passionate about what I do and excited to share my gifts in the world. It is a real get-to. I was born in the 60s in California. I was born in Northern California and grew up much of my life in Southern California. My parents were grandchildren of immigrants. There was a lot of emotional unavailability, and that is a big part of what shaped my early years. I eventually graduated from UC Irvine with a bachelor's in science, and following my graduation, I studied for a year at the Five Branches School of Traditional Chinese Medicine in Santa Cruz, California. After which I gave birth to my first son in my 30s. And while I was still a young mother, I became a certified nutrition consultant and started out my career practicing a form of functional nutritional therapy. I learned through the experience that that type of practicing nutrition was, I would call it, a conventional form of treatment plan, where the idea was running fancy diagnostic tests, like the best tests that money could buy, but then targeting the results of those tests with basically nutraceutical, lab-created, man-made nutritional products. I wasn't getting the results with my clients. Matching a product, a nutraceutical product, to a symptom is very much like matching a drug to a medical issue. It's the same philosophy, it's the same mindset. In particular, it is not an approach that seeks to address the root cause, the original root cause of an issue. So I wasn't satisfied, and I immediately began to call in a new, better approach, because I don't want to spend all that time. I don't want my people to spend that much money and not get phenomenal results, lasting results. So eventually I found a system, or the system really did find me, called nutrition response testing. It was a year's worth of training, and it took me a minute to wrap my head around it. But once I did, it was a life-changing experience. It absolutely shifted the results in my practice. It shifted my health. I had pretty severe heavy metal toxicity, even from a young age. At one point, I found my very first vaccination records, and they said right on them, polio vaccine in mercury suspension. My focus on my training, and then also in much of the early years of my clinical practice, was how to detox heavy metals. So, long story short, this particular modality, nutrition response testing, allowed me to directly access the innate intelligence of the body. I hadn't told anybody about my what I knew about myself, but during the trainings, people were using this system and they were identifying exactly what my blood tests were showing. So that was very, very validating and very, very inspiring. It gave me a lot of confidence about taking on this very unique and different system. Since 2005, my entire perspective and strategy has always been to take a look at how's the balance of the nervous system, because there is a part of the nervous system that is activating, and then there's a part of the nervous system that is relaxing. And if those two parts are out of balance, then brought back into a balance, then a lot of the other issues that are affecting the health right then and there start to improve. And I started getting great results. But if the mental mind and the beliefs, or the underlying inner sabotaging narratives and dialogues that someone is believing about themselves. If there was like a trauma pattern that had never been addressed, that person would only get so well. And I found that treating the emotional underlying trauma limiting beliefs and, core wounding patterns, but most specifically, what is keeping us from loving ourselves, keeping us from being truly in our heart, the higher levels, optimal levels of healing and lasting healing really could not be attained. So that led me further into a deep dive with looking for ways to work with the somatic emotional clearing, what I call shadow integration, and ultimately deep mindset transformation. Many times, not every time, but many times, the pain of that moment is frozen as a memory, energetic frozen memory in time, and that memory is stored in our body and in the field that surrounds our body. Most of our emotional energies, our fears, our sadness, our grief, our desires, our unmet needs are stored in the somatic body. And so any good system is able to go in and help to liberate those completely. And it's basically, I really love the metaphor and analogy of like deleting a program from the hard drive. So just to wrap this up, this little introduction about how I got into these healing arts and these particular modalities, nutrition and the way I practice nutrition, and now using rapid transformational hypnotherapy and also rapid transformational coaching, I'm able to weave together all of those years of insight from my nutrition practice together with accessing the subconscious mind's power to heal, to create a whole new level of health and wellness in the body. First, we're able to go back and recover any limiting beliefs or traumatic memories from childhood running in the background and influencing your life on so many levels. Go back using the brilliant genius of your own subconscious mind. And then, as I said before, we can completely delete that from all layers and levels of your being, from the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual bodies. And then we can install a much more positive, much more supportive, nourishing, up-leveling level of beliefs. And children have the capacity to learn this because it is inherently true. We have those aha moments about ourselves and we start to change our lives like this from the inside out. Well, it ripples out into all areas of our world, including our families. And if we are parents, we can begin to be the role model and embodiment of this truth, and our children will simply just see it. But better yet, we also can begin to teach this to our children from the get-go and give them a much better head start on how to deal better with life. Human design is a beautiful, phenomenal system that is full of very validating and empowering information, individualized information that you can begin to use on the daily in a very practical way. what your unique gifts and superpowers are, and it empowers you to understand who you are rather than who you were taught you should be. It also gives you an incredible insight how to streamline the way you navigate and make choices in the world. And if there is something else in this video that inspired you or piqued your curiosity, please feel free to drop a note below. And if you feel this video could be helpful to others, please share. Please like my page. If you've made it this far, I just want to thank you so much for being here. And I want to thank you so much for being here on the planet at this time. And I really want to encourage you, inspire you, empower you that it's never too late to shift our patterns. Everything boils down to your beliefs. So keep your beliefs positive, keep your inner self dialogue positive, be gentle on your tender heart, and remember that empowered people empower other people, and that is what you do just by being who you are. So all my love, thank you so much, and look forward to more.